The new government questions the investment decisions of its predecessors. Virtually all ministers conduct audits. The list includes, among others, a central communication port, a nuclear power plant, and the Isera electric car factory. Industrial contraction figures have exceeded worst-case scenarios. According to one of the most important indices, the PMI index, the decline is the deepest since July 2022. According to Law and Justice Chairman Jarosław Kaczynski, this turn of events is the result of bad decisions by the government. They promised miracles during the election campaign. They talked about the rising standard of living of Poles and that not only this direction will be maintained but accelerated. But it was one gigantic deception. In the first quarter of the year, almost 90 companies announced collective layoffs, covering approximately 8,000 people. This is twice as many as in the whole of last year. This year, 3 automotive plants in Poland will be closed. Nearly 3,000 people will lose their jobs there. In addition, even 10,000 people will be made redundant at Poczta Polska. We need to spend 90 billion every year on decarbonisation and clean air and green transition plans. The government itself is not making the situation of large and medium-sized enterprises any easier, as it has decided to increase electricity and gas prices from July. The new rates will affect the already rising prices. Poles burdened with all this must prepare for even more because the green transformation lies ahead. We say that we will never agree to the introduction of the euro in Poland. We will reject the Migration Pact. We will reject the Green Deal. We will reject everything that makes life difficult for you. What destroys Polish agriculture? What destroys the Polish economy? According to the latest data, GDP growth in Poland this year will amount to 2.9%, and consumer inflation will amount to 3.9%. Inflation will increase next year. Already the return to 5% VAT on food has raised inflation. If energy prices are freed up, then we are in for another spike in inflation. After all, today we have news that some households will not be able to afford to pay for their electricity. Meanwhile, as Poland struggles with new economic challenges, ministers responsible for the security of our wallets flee to Brussels. Krzysztof Hetman, Minister of Development and Technology, and Boris Budka, Minister of State Assets, have announced their candidates in this year's elections. Brussels means luxury living. After 2 terms, you can get a pension for life. You can have the highest of salaries, hence the flight of those who do not want to grapple with what is going to happen in Poland, because it will not be pleasant for those in power. We read about how the Polish economy is climbing upwards in 2023. International institutions wrote about the GDP growth in the first quarter of 2023 compared to the last quarter of 2019. It turns out that Poland is leaving behind the Scandinavian countries, Italy, Portugal, the Eurozone, and even Germany and the United Kingdom.